Howdy, folks. Greyhawk 4x4 coming at you again, your resident vintage gamer, and you know what time it is. It's Beer 30. Cheers. That's interesting. We'll get to that in a second. So, for those of you that are new to the channel and don't know, this is our segment where we have a beer. I generally try to crack a craft beer of some type and kind of go through that real quick about what type of beer it is, give a quick review on it, and then we move on to gaming topics. We usually pick the gaming topics of the day, whatever happens to be in the news that day. So before I go any further, please click like, subscribe, comment, the bell, merch link below, the whole bit. Okay, so let's move on back to this. So as you know, if you follow me regularly, you know I bought that great big ass pack of German beers from Costco for in the Christmas pack thing, and they're all from little breweries over in Germany. This one is Kautzel Brau is the brewery, and this is the Kautzel German Pilsner. This is their Pils. If you're in Germany, they call it Pil. They don't say Pilsner, they just say Pils. This is in a small town of Aschenfurt, which is south of Würzburg. I was in Schaffenburg. Würzburg was southeast of that, and then this was just outside of it. So I actually wasn't too far from the town where this was made. And this is a standard German, what they would say a German Pils. It's got a unique flavor that I can't really put my finger on. It is similar to a beer that we had in the town I was in, Schaffenburg. We had Highlands. It's spelled Haylands. If you were to see it, you'd think it was Haylands. It's pronounced Highlands. And they had a Pils. And it's similar to that, but this has a stronger, almost a peppery, black peppery finish to it. So it's a little different. It is for damn sure it is a German beer. American beer does not taste like that. So, I don't know if this is my favorite. It's growing on me with each sip there. Yeah, that's getting better. So anyway, so that takes care of that. By the way, even though it's not my favorite, it may not be exactly what I like. It's still 10 times better than your Budweiser, your Coors, your Bud Light, your all that shit. You know, I mean, it's still 10 times better than that, even though it's not particularly my cup of tea. So, so let's move on to the gaming stuff here. I called it. And if any of you guys are following the gaming headlines today, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I hate to keep bringing up this topic, but because it keeps making the news, it keeps making the gaming headlines, I have to. Our good old nemesis, Bobby Kotick, is back in the news again today. There was another walkout from Activision Blizzard because there was another story that dropped today by the Wall Street Journal that shows about how he knew about all these sexual assault allegations and all this stuff and did nothing about it, etc. He tried to bury it, all those things. And it goes into all the detail about that. And so then, of course, all the workers saw that article today and they all said, that's it, he's got to go. And then when I say I called it, if you remember, the last time I talked about it, was on the 30th of October, day before Halloween. I did a video and I talked about Bobby Kotick because he had written my ass. His lawyers had written an open letter to the company, to the employees, to say, hey, here's where we're going to get everything back on track. Here's how we're going to fix it. It's a new commitment to this and a new commitment to that. I'm going to take the minimum salary or whatever. I think it was like $65,000 a year or something, where he was making multiple millions, like $30 million a year or something like that. And I said at the time, on the 30th of October, I said, all of that is just smoke and mirrors to try and, get the media and everybody off their backs and keep the shareholders happy, etc. And that's exactly what it was. He was just, falling on his sword, and I said about his money, I looked it up. The man is worth anywhere between $600 million and $7 billion. They don't really know where he lies in there as far as his full net worth and everything. But I'm guessing he's at least a billionaire. I'm guessing he has at least $1 billion, based on stock and everything else. Now, of course, that was before today, because of this latest walkout and this story that dropped in the Wall Street Journal. The stock took a shit. 6% drop today because of this. And everybody kept saying, I had people that were arguing with me saying, no, I said he should have been sacked a long time, or forced out. The board of directors should have asked for his resignation. When that whole thing happened, when the whole allegations story broke, was it last year? I think it was that hit. He should have been gone then. It should have been, cut off the head of the snake, that type of a thing, to get rid of the rot and get rid of the thread or whatever. There's an old adage, and I can't think of it now. Something, it smells worse from the head or something like that, to mean the head of the corporation or whatever. You got to get rid of them and start rebuilding from there. And they didn't do that. And I had people arguing that side of it, saying that, well, he made them all this money, and he could take people down with him, and that's why they won't get rid of him, blah, blah, blah. And I said, the bottom line is, when something that big happens, it's almost always the board of directors says, hey, we want you to resign. You can just say, hey, you decided to retire, you want to spend more time with your family, whatever bullshit you want to come up with. And they basically give them a golden parachute and they go away. And that didn't happen with Bobby Kotick, and it should have, because now it's going to bite them in the ass even worse, because now their stock's taking a shit. So, anyway, if you want to go back and see, it wasn't that long ago. It was a Beer 30 episode. I was dressed in my Halloween costume, so it isn't that hard to find. You can see that I called it then. And so now, I saw, well, let's see, I've got it right. I think I've got it right here. I saw a Polygon article. I can't remember if it was an Ars Technica article. I saw a few of them that were basically saying he has to go. Like, this shit keeps more and more coming out. It's like an onion. They keep peeling the layers. And how long are they going to put up with this before they say, Bobby, you got to go, dude? Because I said it weeks ago that he should have been gone from the get-go. But anyway, once again, I called it. Cheers. I said he was a shitbag then, and he's still a shitbag, and he's got too much of a goddamn ego. He should have just resigned. He should have, swallowed his pride and said, I take responsibility, I'm leaving the company, and been gone. He wasn't man enough to do that, and it's coming back to bite him all in the ass again now. So, anyway, that's number one. Number two, the other thing that I saw today was the Game Awards nominees were announced. And most of them, it looks like a lot of it is console games, which is fine. I'm not a console player, but I love all video games. I love all the genres. I love console, PC, mobile. I don't do a lot of mobile gaming either, but gaming is gaming, and I'm a tabletop, the whole bit. So, but I didn't recognize a lot of the titles because I'm not a console gamer. However, the one that got me was Cyberpunk 2077 was nominated for Game of the Year. And I'm conflicted because I know that it was an incredible project to be undertaken and to be produced and to be put out. The amount of work that went into it, I get all that, and the beauty of it when it's running on the right computer, and it's incredible, right? The problem I have is the state in which it was released and the state that it still is in. I went to the Steam reviews today just to see what recent ones are saying, and they're saying it's still having bugs, and they announced that they're not doing any more patches for the rest of the year. And it caught a lot of us off guard because CD Projekt Red, has a great reputation. Up until that point, they had a great reputation. And I just don't know how a game in that state can be put up for Game of the Year. I mean, again, I'm not the one making those decisions, but I think that the fact that it was a big AAA title by a big AAA company that has a lot of pull, a lot of influence. If it had been a smaller title by a smaller company, an indie title, whatever, and launched in the same state, I don't think it would have gotten a Game of the Year nomination. I think the fact that what it was, by who it was, had some influences to it getting nominated. Whereas, again, if it weren't the case, maybe it wouldn't have gotten nominated. What are your thoughts on that? That was the only thing. Everything else, I mean, it got nominated for Game of the Year, and then like music and maybe visual. The visual thing I could see because it's stunning, but people said even then you still have like floating objects and you have that kind of stuff still going on. But anyway, let me know your thoughts. What do you think? What do you think about Bobby Kotick and this latest thing where they had another walkout today? So basically, no work was getting done today on any Blizzard games. All that stuff, they walked out. So they said even the people working remote from home shut off their computer or logged off their company stuff, and basically did a virtual walkout. So none of that stuff was getting done today because of Bobby Kotick. So let me know what you think about him. Let me know what you think about Game of the Year awards. If there was other games that you thought should have been nominated that weren't, were there other categories that I didn't mention that maybe I should have, even though it's mostly console stuff, we can still have a dialogue about it down in the comments. So let's see. I think for this edition, I think that's it on the gaming front. Oh, I know what the other thing. That is not it. I keep having to talk about two things it's like beating a fucking dead horse. Bobby Kotick and New World. Yeah, I don't know if you saw this, but all the problems that New World's been having, they had to take the economy completely offline again, meaning the trading post, no trading between players, no wealth transfer of any kind because of another duping problem. So they had to shut everything down again. Now, they didn't shut the game down. They didn't take the servers down or whatever. But they basically made it so you couldn't do anything with items or wealth or coin. They call it coin. They don't say gold in that game. They just say coin. You couldn't trade coin. You couldn't buy or sell anything. And remember, you can't sell stuff to vendors in that game. There's no vendors to buy stuff from. They don't have that. That mechanic doesn't exist. The only way to sell stuff is through the trading post to other players or delete it. Like if you had a stack of, say, 100 healing potions, minor healing potions, which are worth like the equivalent of 1 penny on the trading post, and you can't even get your one penny a piece for them back because you can't trade them. Your only option just to get the room, to have the room in your space cleared up, is to just delete them, because you can't even sell the stuff to a vendor. That mechanic does not exist. So when they take the economy down offline, it stops everything, because you can't sell anything, you can't buy anything you need, because vendors don't sell anything and vendors don't buy anything. It's all player, which, hey, player-driven economy is great. That's a fantastic idea. But when you have to keep taking it offline, that's horrible, you know. So I've taken a break. I'm playing EverQuest 2, and enjoying the shit out of it. And at some point, hopefully, New World, they will get. It doesn't sound like they're playing whack-a-mole right now. A dupe comes up, they get that one, and another one comes up, and they're doing that until they can fix the architecture of the game, the code, or whatever it is that's allowing them to keep coming up with dupes, exploits and stuff like that. When I say dupe, if you don't already, it means duplication. It means some players out there figured out a way to duplicate items. So say you have a really nice sword that's worth a lot of gold or whatever, and you figure out a way to just keep duplicating it, like, for nothing. You can just, have them just show up in your inventory or whatever. That's a dupe. And that's what kills everything. And then they have to shut everything down. Now, my understanding is the last thing I read was they banned a bunch of people that they caught doing it, and they were able to remove a lot of the items out of the game, out of the economy. So, at least they're doing it. But if they keep doing whack-a-mole, how long can they do that for? I mean, they got to fix the underlying problem, the architecture. So, anyway, that's it for this episode. Let's get a final. Yeah, I think I just had to, my palate just had to acclimate, because now it's much more refreshing. I think, yeah, and I think it had to breathe a little bit, and I had just poured it. The breed had to breathe a little bit because it was pretty strong, with whatever that aftertaste was, and now I'm not getting that. So it's actually quite a delicious Pils now. Anyway, that's it, guys. Next thing is Thursday. No video tomorrow unless some major gaming related thing happens, and I'll do a news one if that happens. But aside from that, Thursday we do a live at, I think it's 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So until then, we'll catch you on the flip side.